First of all, what value have you added to yourself? Now, who can you give that value to? And then the money will come.
I believe that each generation deserves a step up.
You got hypertension, pre-diabetes. God's doing a better job at that. I'm not trying to do anything.
We will pass on our financial habits and blueprints onto our children.
Don't think of equity as you're giving away part of your business.
Those are two things that you can do today and leave an inheritance.
We need to break generational cycles.
How should people be positioning themselves? So we're talking business owners now, just in terms of finances. How should they be looking after their finances? Or how should they be positioning themselves for angel investors to be looking at them?
Sure, that's a great question. And I think just to take a couple of steps back, when we're defining angel investors, these are people that come into your business quite early on.
For real.
So at this stage, you're typically maybe raising a few £100,000. You might own 100% of your business, but at this stage, you're looking to get external capital providers to support you with getting to the next phase. So what you do is you need to have the right material. So first of all, understand what it takes to raise capital, that whole process, mapping out the investors that you want to approach, to preparing your data room and all the materials that you'd use to communicate with these investors, to the bits of closing and negotiating term sheets. That whole process you need to understand before you begin that journey. Then when you start the fundraise, once you've had even before that, you need to ask yourself, does your business require capital? And what kind of capital does your business require? Because different businesses require different types of financial partners. You're creating a business that would require the right sort of financial partner to take you to the next stage. You already have your limited entity, you have your corporate documents and everything that's already prepared. You need to figure out the right financial partner to get you to the next stage. So back to angel investors. If you're looking for an angel, so you've determined that your company is one that is suitable for angel investments, then it's worth first starting with your network. If your network isn't able to put that capital forward, then you need to build a new network. Most angel investors go through relationships, through trusted relationships. So yes, you have your material ready, but you need to have those relationships within angel networks in order to get that level of trust that would allow them to start to look at your data, your company information with less bias. There's a lot of bias when it comes to fundraising. That's a reality. If you happen to look like most of us in this room, then the reality is the types of questions, the types of engagements, and the types of assessments you'll get would not be what the majority of those that get capital face. So you need to make sure you take many more boxes from your financial due diligence, your technical due diligence, your commercial due diligence, and all the things that would make it less likely for an investor to say no. Because what they want to do really is say no. But you want to let them know that you have an opportunity that will return a lot of, capital on their invested, give them a return on capital, right? You want to show that there's a win-win situation. If they put money in your business, they take a small percentage, maybe 5-10% of your business. Never give away ridiculous amounts of percent. I know in developing economies, because like I said earlier, my parents are Nigerian, and in many emerging, you see term sheets being offered where a business partner, a commercial partner, wants to take up to 40, 50, 60% of your business. I'm like, okay, no, then that's no longer a business. They're working for you. So typically you want to dilute with the least amount possible in order to allow for you to get the next round of capital from other participants. So you get angel investment, 5, 10, 15% max. When you go to the next round, when you're raising several millions, at which point you'd have proven a lot more of your business, you'd have a certain degree of traction in terms of cash flow, you'd have some recurring revenues, you'll have product market fit, all the things that show you can scale the business, or you've taken some risk off the table, then you can get a few millions to support with that fundraise.
The thing is, when people speak to me, they're always like, Emmanuel, what's the biggest thing for you? The biggest thing for me, I always tell people, is dream big. If your dreams don't scare you, you're not really dreaming. And the problem is that a lot of us, one of the problems to our dreams is that we haven't read enough. Do you understand?
Say that again.
Like, we haven't read enough. So I mean,
like what?
Like, not even just read, like, what, as in, like, I meet them and I'll speak to them and they'll be telling me that they're fighting over postcodes. They're killing each other, losing their life over postcodes. And then I'll be like, have you ever heard of a person called Richard Branson? And they'll be like, maybe yes, or the Virgin brother. I'm like, do you know he owns a whole island? So while we're fighting over postcodes, never paid council tax in our lives, man, them own a whole island. I'm talking about dreaming big. Yes. So when you start your business and all you're thinking about in your business is, do I make enough so I can feed my family? If that's all you're ever thinking about, when it's now time to get investment, you're not prepared for that. Because more time, I ask people, you haven't even set out the business. As in, I can't go on company's house and find your business. It doesn't exist. You're not registered. There's no accounts, yet you want funding. You want investment. We're not dreaming big enough. You need to think about your business as a £1 million, £1 billion business from the onset and put the things in place. You haven't even got contracts. You're hiring staff. You've got people that maybe put money in. You haven't even got a contract. So now when other investors want to come, they're saying, but who's this person? From the day that you start your business, treat it like a business. Respect what you're doing. If you've got a business partner, have a contract. All of this shaking hand and, oh, we're brethren, we're family. Nuh-uh. When money comes, family out the window. And then also what I tell people is that two things. Number one is that some of us will say, well, I might not get rich or I might not become a millionaire, so forth. Okay, cool. But two things you can leave is life insurance and a network. So no matter what, you can go out now and meet people and build up a network that you can leave to your children. Number two, you can set up a life insurance policy so that whenever you die, you know that there's money to your children. Those are two things that you can do today and leave an inheritance and make sure that your children are on a better platform than what you came on. And so for me, it's about, sometimes we're making excuses. Some of these insurance policies, you do a quote, £30. Oh, £30 too much. Listen, you're still in Starbucks. What you're paying for coffee, do you understand? And we're talking twice a day.
And the thing about it, man, some of us, in terms of numbers as well, knowing our numbers, some of us don't even add up. In Starbucks 2 times a day, 5 days a week, do that by, for the month, how much you spend. If I was to ask someone now, they don't know the number. If you don't know the number, then you can't say, actually, I've spent £60 in Starbucks. That £60 could have gone into my investment. That £60 could have gone into clearing a debt. That £60 could have gone in, but we don't know our numbers. Sorry.
Culturally, you're right. In terms of our own personal finance habits, we haven't got many a time we don't have the best sort of personal finance hygiene. If you speak, well, I know when I spoke with my parents at one point, and I asked them about wills, they thought, okay, well, are you trying to kill us? And I'm like, no, I mean, you got hypertension, pre-diabetes, God's doing a better job of that. I'm not trying to do anything. I just want you to plan ahead, right? But, so when we take those financial habits, our personal finance habits into business, there's less mercy, right? You need to have the contract. You can't say, as was mentioned earlier, you can't say, okay, we've shaken on it, your family. Have a contract, have a founder's agreement, have governance documents, any partners you have, any business relationships, because when an investor comes and says, yeah, exactly like Iman said, who's that guy? Who's that girl? And you're like, oh yeah, they've just been in the business for a while. Okay, where are the contracts? You can't just have those sort of things if you're trying to build an investable business, a backable business that would involve external capital providers. Just wanted to touch that point. Don't take the poor finance hygiene you might have in your personal life into your business. Otherwise, that business would literally just be you. You'll not be able to get external financial partners.
And unfortunately, what will happen as well is you need to have your baseline correct. So your personal you need to have good personal so it can seep into the business. So I help people with their personal finances to get them to a level where they believe in their self, they believe in their abilities, and their mindsets change. Because I believe that we need to break generational cycles. All right? The cycles need to be broken, and the cycles breaks with you. You can be the one who broke the cycle. Like I was the one who broke the cycle. And the reason why that's so important to me is because we will pass on our financial habits and blueprints onto our children. That happens automatically, all right? 99% of the time, how we manage our money right now is the same way our parents or our guardians manage their money. Were they spenders? Were they not spenders? Were they savers? Non-savers? Were they live for today people? We would normally follow in that suit. So it's about breaking that cycle, because I believe that each generation deserves a step up, that they grow upon, step up, grow upon each generation. But unfortunately, we're like 3-4 steps behind. Because we're not getting this, we're not passing on good financial habits. And like, if I speak about myself, I can look at my children. Sometimes I test them. Can you borrow me $3,000? When do you need it, Mum? I don't need it. I just want to know you got it. Do you know what I mean? So there's different things. And my youngest daughter now, last night, she's like, oh, Mum, I'm just packing my packed lunch because I'm bringing my packed lunch to work now. And I said, oh, well, if you get peckish, you could buy something. She's like, oh, Mum, what, you telling me I could buy something? I'm trying to buy a house. She's 24. So the mindset and the habits passed down, and it starts with us. It starts with each and one of us.
Before we leave, I want like 30 seconds. Some form of financial advice for the people you can see in front of us. You want to start?
Now,
Go.
I've just got a saying in my head, so I'm going to say the saying, and it will probably drop something, because I'm just coming off what E-Man said. Living payday to payday is not living, you're surviving. And it's time for us to get out of survival mode and actually start living our lives. So in order to do that, I mentioned it early, the basic of basics is knowing your numbers. What are your numbers? What money's coming in? What money's going out? When you see that in black and white and you say, raw, £450 on cheese sandwiches every month, you will quickly start saying, I'm bringing packed lunch to work so I can actually save £300 of that. So know your numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Go home, find out how much income do I have from all, different things. What is my outgoings? And ideally, your outgoing should not be, I know we're living in the, cost of living is rising, but we want to get into a place that our outgoings is not way over what's coming in.
How many people here are business owners? A show of hands, please. Great. So I guess I'll be speaking to you mostly.
Yes.
I'll say the first thing is, I'm sure you've done this already, but similar to what's just been shared around knowing your numbers, it's worth having that cash flow forecast for the next year or two for your company, working out what it is you need to unlock specific aspects to grow your business, and then think through who could be the financial partner to allow you to unlock that. You don't have to do it all on your own. If you're growing organically, then it slows down your pace of growth, right? It's always better. I know there's this saying, it's other people's money, but it's always better to get financial partners. If it's equity partners or grants, non-dilutive funding is accessible to many, especially if your business is within an area that's innovative or it's within an area that's impact. So you want to check out things like Innovate UK, the UKRI, they have a lot of grants. Actually, a couple of grants that are available now. So for those that raise their hands, you might want to check out the Unlocking Potential grant. It's up to 50K. So you just need to apply. I think the deadline's in 2.5 weeks. And look out for such opportunities to get the right financial partners to help you get to the next stage. Don't think of equity as you're giving away part of your business. Think of it more like you're getting in a partner that can help you de-risk your business. They can add value, they can support you with brainstorming, they can support you with access to new markets, and so on. So it's always a value add when you have the right financial partners in the room.
Totally agree with that. And to close?
Yeah, so, I mean, what was just being said was talking about, for a lot of us, we want 100% of nothing. That's how we live our lives. I want 100% of nothing. I don't want to give out ownership. I don't want a partner because I want it all for myself, but you have nothing. So you can keep that. I think the biggest thing for me that I learned is to stop chasing money. Like, I don't wake up thinking about how much money, how am I going to make money or how am I going to find money? I wake up thinking about who I can help.
Yes.
Every day I wake up, who can I help? If I see a problem, how can I make a difference? And I've got to the stage now where I've helped so many people that now money chases me. Do you understand? Every day, I'm sitting right here right now, I promise you, at least 5 emails, can you come and talk here? Do you understand? Why? Because the help that I've given others is out there talking for me. I don't need to explain anything to anyone. The proof is out there. You need to think about who can you help. And for a lot of the time, you can't help anyone because you haven't helped yourself. So it starts with you now. How do I add value to myself so that I can then add value to others? That means coming to a tech day, understanding the technology, understanding how you can take the skills that you have and turn them to work for you. Some of us have been in jobs for 10, 15 years and yet say they have no skill. What have you been doing? Look, what have you been doing? You've got to slap yourself. You've been there 15 years and you've got no skill. Do you understand? For me, I understood. I worked in a bank. I went there, and that was my apprenticeship. They paid me to learn how to do everything I do now. When I left, I just changed the logo to my new logo, and I've done every contract, every provider, everything. I took all of it, and they paid me for the joy. But some of us are at work, just sitting there trying to coast, thinking that we're doing well, and yet we wonder why we're going nowhere. So for me, it's about looking at yourself. First of all, what value have you added to yourself? Then who can you give that value to? And then the money will come.
Yes.
Can I have a massive round of applause, please? Thank you very much.